Hey, what's up, guys? We're cruising around today in Adam Hamby from the Hoosier Garage in his Dodge, his 72 Dodge Tradesman 200 Shorty van.
Yeah.
So, Adam Hamby.
How you doing, everybody?
So, Adam, thanks for cruising today.
No problem. Always glad to give somebody a lift.
So, Adam, on his channel, he's been building this van for the last
2.5 years, I'd say.
2.5 years. Lots of content on there. So, tell me a little bit about the van.
Yeah, I got the whim to buy this van sometime in 2019. I had a side business going, and I wanted to kind of relate it to that. But long story short, it evolved into business. I kind of got done with that, and I was like, I'm going to do video channel, and it became basically a billboard for the channel. I wanted to put graphics that pertain to it on there, and I thought I'm going to do it in a classic custom 70s style van with the shag carpet and the paneling and CB radio and just all kinds of fun stuff that you don't really see anymore. And here it is.
All right. What now? Obviously, you've done a lot of custom work on this van.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? What are your favorite elements of the van? What's your favorite thing about it?
I think just the whole package together. I mean, that's kind of vague, but it's like when you get it all together, you kind of have that over-the-road trucker feel, like with the curtains and the CB and just like setting high and all your gauges, your drink tray, just the whole experience of just driving it and just how it's perceived by everybody, like the colors and the big wheels. It's just kind of in general. I mean, I can't really pick out one specific thing. It has to all be together, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I see you get a lot of love. Somebody at the gas station a minute ago, stopped and said hi. Is that pretty much everywhere you go?
Yeah, you might get mixed reactions. I think some people, with the way vans are perceived in culture, it's like there might be a big scary boogievan, but then some people are like, oh, it's so cool. It's like the mystery machine. It's kind of the generic thing people go to. So it's always just something fun to see. It might make people smile in one way or the other.
Now, a boogie van, you mentioned boogie van. I've heard that term before, and a shorty van.
Yeah.
Are those the same thing?
No, I mean, I think a lot of people do cross them over. It depends on what group you're talking to. I think the boogie van, a lot of people call it a shorty, which is just a short wheelbase van, a boogie van. But I think in general, people just use it to the whole experience of having all the amenities inside of it.
Okay.
And, on these Dodges and a lot of the others, you have like 3 different lengths. You have the big long van and the middle van, and then this is just the shortest one, which is sometimes shorter than a lot of cars. It's really not that long.
Yeah, you said it's shorter than your Duster, right?
Yeah, like physically, length in bumper to bumper, it's a couple inches shorter than our Dusters that we have.
Nice. Now, you mentioned the billboard for the channel, but is there anything else, any background? Like, do you have any history with these vans that made you want a van?
No, I really don't. I never really thought serious at all about a van. They just seemed like so kind of out of my wheelhouse. But it's just where maybe it's because I have a wife and a couple kids. You think, well, maybe I can put them on and they can have some leg room, and I've always been very kind of colorful, I guess. So like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way. So it kind of evolved out of that, I think.
From a colorful side, I know you also are really into the artwork. I know, like putting the lines on the van. I know you posted some videos just on doing artwork.
Yeah.
Do you have kind of an art history, or is there anything like, is that kind of one of your favorite things about doing custom cars?
Yeah, I like it. The expression of it. Like when you draw a picture or a sketch, the whole way you wanted to other people to see it a certain way. You wanted to see it as much the way you see it as possible. And that's like the challenge of it. So you go through all this, emotion and work to try to make it seem that way. They may not get it, but you gave your best, and that's what a lot of it is. You want to, convey this message, and that's what art's all about. So it's just rolling art. Any cars, trucks, vans, anything like that.
All right. Now, as far as what does the van mean to you? Does it, now that you've put all this work into it, would you be willing to sell the van, or has it taken on a little bit more meaning to you?
I've kind of asked myself that question, like, what if somebody really wanted this thing and offered some serious money for it? Like, it's a possibility, because the way I have it built, like, even my channel logos are like magnetic, so I didn't do full paint there, and that's for a few reasons. It's like kind of a story, but it could be like taken by somebody else and made their own. But it is a really good billboard for, like, I can drive around and people go, well, what's that? And they might just look it up on the internet, and then they figure it out real quick due to the color schemes and the logo, and it's just it's gonna be in your face. So and in traveling, and you could always use a truck. The way I built it, it could be easily broke down and like put drywall in here if we wanted to. So it's just, I like the functionality, but at the same time, walking that line of making it what it appears to be is just a big fun wagon, I guess.
Now, so right now we're at the No Name Nationals event. Is this the first trip that you've taken it?
This is the first, I would say, major trip. I've been to, since I'm from Indiana, I've went to Indianapolis. It's just a big epicenter, but that's a 2-hour trip for me. When you really dial it down. But this is like a 5-hour trip, so this is really straying from home, and it's proved itself really good. I mean, old cars always have their good and bad days, and but it's done great, and I feel really good about, like, the trip here was great. The trip home, I think, is looking pretty good.
All right, awesome. Now, this is the first time that you have slept in it, though, right? Or
Yeah, it is. First time I've
camp out in your front yard.
Yeah, it's like, you gotta do that. But yeah, the first time I actually stayed a night in it, and like the seat you see back there, it's made to fold down, but I haven't quite mastered the functionality yet. So I would have had slept on the floor in a sleeping bag, and that was actually pretty comfortable. And it was, if I had to, I'd do it in a pinch. So and the curtains, I got little curtains to go up over the little windows, so we have pretty good privacy too. It's like you wake up and you're looking up in a bedroom. That's what it feels like with all the paneling and all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, I heard a little bit about earlier. You said this was originally an Army van.
Yeah, it was.
Where'd you get it? Like, what's the background on you procuring it?
Well, a little bit of the story that I figured out from it. It was, you have an Army ammunition plant. Well, they was all over the country. There might still be a few around. The one near me is was a powder plant, so they did gunpowder. Well, this one came from a chemical plant up in Newport, near Covington, Indiana. And the only way I knew that was some of the markers were still on the door. It faded, but it was Army green, the drab, flat green, and it had some of that on it. And it was like literally a contractor maintenance van for the Army. So it had nothing in it. It had really basic seats. It didn't even have a radio. It had a plate over that. And as the government typically does, when something's been its full service in life, they would, maybe auction them or sell them to the public. Well, from what I understand, a gentleman in Monrovia, Indiana, probably back in the late or mid 90s, bought it and used it for a paper route, and probably used it for 7 or 8 years and then parked it. Well, that's pretty much where its life just came to a halt. It got parked, it sat in his yard for the better part of 20 years. And then he was getting up in years, so his family was helping him try to get rid of some stuff. So again, a guy up in Indianapolis, he was really into vans and picking up deals, bought it, didn't do anything to it for 3 months, and decided to sell it. Well, that's where I came into the picture, and that's when this whole thing took off.
Alright. Now, what can people expect to see on your channel? I know you do a lot of fabrication. You do some beautiful fabrication body work. So kind of 2-part question. One is, what can people expect to see on your channel? And then 2, what's your background where you learned how to do that kind of work?
Well, if you go to my channel, you won't see a whole lot of racing content or a whole lot of engine work. You're going to see some, but I feel like a lot of people really cover that well and much more profound information than I can give. So when you come to my channel, you're going to see a lot of body work with minimal tools, because I know a lot of guys that do body work, they have a lot of money into their infrastructure. They have all these fancy tools that we may never justify buying. So I usually, with body work, I might have a vise, a couple of hammers, some pliers, and I'm going to show you how to make something work. You can buy new body panels and show you how it breaks down, how it goes back together, and just saving old vehicles that we like, because they're not getting any younger and you're not making anything like it anymore. So let's go out and save a car, and let's be artistic with it if we want to, or we can go back to stock. It's whatever way you want to do it. It's just to encourage you that you don't need tons and tons of experience, and you don't need tons and tons of money to do very simple sheet metal and other stuff, interior, anything like that. And as far as where I got it, my dad has always been very hands-on. He was much more into woodworking, so that's kind of where this part of the van really came full circle for me. That was maybe part of the drive to do it. It's like I can do some woodwork and use a little bit of his expertise and kind of make some stuff work. And he really helped me with a lot of stuff. But just working with your hands and understanding basic mechanics and just trying to find a way. A lot of farmers, I always envy them because they always have a lot of situations, 360 degrees, how to handle something. So they always have these amazing ideas that you're like, why didn't I think of that? And that's the way I try to think. I try to think, how can I make something work and help other people? They might have that resource that I don't. And give them an idea of how to do their project and feel good about it.
Some awesome custom work in here. Love it. Talking about the drivetrain and the mechanics of the van. This is it's pretty well stocked, right?
It's pretty well stocked. And a lot of it, the engine and transmission, I did not go and rebuild. It's pretty much the same engine internally as it was set for all those years. When I got a hold of it though, I had to do some things. Like I went ahead and changed the water pump. I changed some rubber seals that it's gonna be dry rotted. I changed some filters like in the transmission and some pivot seals where your shifter and all that's gonna leak. It was leaking. And pretty much rolled with it for quite a while. And then the rear end, I changed the gears out because I wanted it more highway friendly. It would have wound up really quick. It had a 355. I went to a 271. So it cruises good.
Yeah.
And I since have put a 4-barrel carburetor on it and headers with side pipes, with the dual exhaust and crossover pipe.
It's a 318?
Yeah, 318 and a 727 transmission.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it runs pretty good. I know we were going to dinner last night and you're keeping up with me just fine.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it can go pretty good, especially on the top end.
Yeah.
That's where the gears come in, and I think since I put the headers on, that's really helped it.
Now we were running. So he had a race with 318 wheel run yesterday, and a little bit of a joke on the reaction time where there's just we're both new to racing, and you had a pretty funny reaction because you missed the light. You just too many things to pay attention to. But it still ran on 11.7, something like that. Realistically, if you hadn't had that reaction, you'd be 11, which for a car this big, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, it weighs under 4,000 pounds, and of course it's just like a brick, and so it's got such a blunt nose on it. You're not getting points in aerodynamics. But that was I raced 2 times yesterday. That's my first time ever on a track. It was funny, like you mentioned, that my reaction time the very first time I was in a lane all by myself. I didn't have anybody to race against, but it's such a sensory overload. I'm trying to understand what's going on. You know the light. You see drag racing, you just know, oh, follow the light when it hits green, go, or go before it turns green. And I was actually staging, and then I started to do my, like, I need to get ready here. And I guess while I'm doing it, it had already been green for like 5 seconds. And then I look up, I'm like ready to go, and I'm thinking the lights are gonna go with the tree, you know? And the announcer goes, "It's green, go." So I took off. So I talked to 318 will run, great guy, just works with you, wants you to do good. He kind of worked something out, and then he's like, when we went and raced each other, I was more on the dot, but he's such a consistent guy. He was like, he got out in front of me right away, but it was much better the second time.
And he took second place in the bracket race.
Yeah.
You know, just losing out by 2/100ths of a second to just Mopar Joe. So like, that's a respectable loss.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
so.
being the first time, and then he's kind of mentoring me on that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take it.
Yeah, it was cool though. All right. Anything else you want to share?
I just want to say thanks for doing this. I think we've had some ideas about how to entertain people and how to show them some stuff, and I think this is really cool. It's kind of like Jerry Seinfeld doing his cars and coffee, so but it's a little more techy. So it kind of helps people want to get into inspiration to do something. So really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, man. Well, awesome, man. Dude, I love it. Thanks for taking the time, taking me for a ride, and thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
See you later.